What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade, basketball analysis, coming to y'all with playoff reactions. First, we're going to talk about my Celtics getting eliminated by the Brooklyn Nets. Just too much firepower to keep it easy. James Harden basically toyed with the defense. They blocked him a couple times, which I thought was something that will be important in the next series, is trying to contain them and helping at the right time and not allowing somebody to be caught on an island with him. But too many weapons for him and just too many guys cutting. The Celtics just couldn't guard anybody tonight just because they just didn't have their guys, like I said, and they just got outmatched. Brooklyn, they was in the game, making it competitive, and they just couldn't hang for 48 minutes. And Brooklyn continued to pile on, and eventually they was able to cruise for the W. I think that it's going to be important for us to really change a lot of this roster just because we took a huge step back from being in the Eastern Conference Finals last year to being eliminated in the first round. And we have major injuries to guys like Kimba and Jalen Brown that could really alter their career depending on, how they recover and how much load they will have to carry next year. Obviously, when we play healthy, we are a compatible team, but we didn't get a lot of that this year, and neither did a lot of other teams. We knew that Brooklyn was the better team. Boston was at least able to show fight and compete the last two games, even though they lost. Just not enough. They just didn't have enough. Couldn't get enough stops. Couldn't make enough baskets, and it just got away from them as the game continued to go on. We know how unstoppable Kyrie, Kevin Durant can be, and they just was a little bit too much. Honestly, they just came out very aggressive, and they continued to play that way throughout the game. And the thing that was crazy is when you watch the last two games, it's kind of like they picked their spots. It's kind of like James Harden knew now that they made the rotation or they put certain guys on them. I'm about to take this guy, and Kevin Durant to get a switch, or they have a mismatch and he would eat, and then Kyrie will score off ball or attack if you closed out too hard, or go at you in isolation, and we just couldn't do the same. We missing some of our best players, and Jason Tatum scored as much as he could the last three games. I'm proud of him. He did the best he could do, but ultimately not enough. We just didn't have enough to win this series. We didn't have enough to win this game, and like I said last game, I knew that we probably would lose this series. But when you have your best players out, when you have one of your best defenders out, and then Robert Williams, and it just keep going on, and then you're relying on young players like Neesmith and Peyton Pritchard to play bigger roles and be bigger parts of the offense. When honestly, they just don't compare to what the Nets have, even bench wise, and it ultimately won out, and Brooklyn got it done in five. I thought my Celtics would get swept, but I like the fact that we was competitive, even though we had our roster really destroyed. And even though we lost by double digits, we still competed for the whole game. And it didn't look like it because we couldn't make a basket from time to time. But, you know, we did our best. We went out there and fought. And I'm proud of them at the end of the day. Disappointed as a Celtics fan with this ending, disappointed with the season. But at the end of the day, this was a year where we all have this feelings as fans, but we still did our best. I'm not gonna talk too much about that game because it's not the Celtics team that they should have fought and played against, but it is what it is. On to the Suns. This game was over pretty quick. The Lakers, I thought that they had come out aggressive, and they did for the first couple of minutes, but I feel like the Lakers are a problem to watch. It does look totally different to where the Lakers was last year. Guys like Pope and Caruso and Rondo really played above their weight in the playoffs, and Anthony Davis seemed like he took another step forward in the playoffs, even from the three-point line. And LeBron really was able to either manipulate defenses or pick his spots when to score. LeBron doesn't look the same. He's coming off an injury that took him out for a while. Plus, it was a hard season on his body, and the rest of this. This is an older team. Plus, a lot of their bigs got in foul trouble. Phoenix is a better team when healthy compared to this Laker team without AD. I didn't really expect the Lakers to win this game, but I didn't really expect it to be a blowout basically after the first quarter because after the Suns got that, cushion, the Lakers never really even came close to taking the lead. And this is a game that the Suns needed for confidence. They really went to home. Devin Booker was able to get to his spots mid range. He missed a couple easy ones, made some tough ones, but also was able to hit his threes, his mid range, his floaters, was able to knock down his free throws. Cameron Payne gave him energy and spunk off the bench, hitting some threes, getting some floaters, making some layups off the dribble to the point where Anthony Davis even said we can't let Cameron Payne beat us. And that just sounds crazy. That just sounds absolutely stupid that Cameron Payne was just out of the league and had to make a deal just to get in the league and was really well done because he really has been great this entire series for a guy that's come off the bench playing minimal minutes, and he really did step up. Also, Aiden still looks good in the paint, getting them in foul trouble, rebounding the ball very well, finishing at an efficient level. Still got to catch that ball. Still got to be a little bit more stronger when finishing at the rim. And Chris Paul looks better. He hit a couple threes. Was able to play within the mid range. Was able to pick his spots when to score. And they just have better defense to me. I feel like they're more active. They play in the passing lanes. They're aggressive when rotating and closing out, trying to look for strips, trying to block the ball, even if it's a jump shot. And they just all over the Lakers. The Lakers don't have enough shooting. Kyle Kuzma and these guys never been great shooters. They've been streaky shooters throughout their entire career. LeBron got it going, but that's not reliable for him. Even though he's shooting more threes, you will live with that if you're the Suns than him getting to the free throw line or collapsing the defense to find guys for easier opportunities, which he was doing in the first two quarters, and he got aggressive later in the game. But it was just too late. You down by 30 with a team that has closers, with a team that has great perimeter scoring when they're knocking down shots. Bridges knocked down some more threes. Jay Crowder knocked down some more threes, and it was over pretty quick. I do want to see if the Suns can eliminate them. They are the better team without AD. Even if AD comes back, he's not going to make a huge impact just because if he barely can walk, if he barely can even move side to side, just imagine what it is banging with Aiden and these guys that's trying to get to the paint, that's setting screens and trying to kill you on offensive rebounds and finishing in the paint. You getting bumped, you getting pushed, you got to rebound, you got to contest shots in the paint, and you got to cover ground for 3-point shooters because they go small with Johnson, Jay Crowder, and those guys. And you got to be able to get out to them. You got to be able to contest. You got to be able to rotate so that way they don't get to the basket because they like to make layups and floaters, like I said, with Cameron Payne and Devin Booker and them. And it's just a little bit too much to ask for AD to do, especially if he hits another blow. If they take a good blow at AD, this could be a huge injury for the future of this team. Because remember, this is a veteran team, and LeBron has shown his age too in this series. Just not the same player at this point, even though he's still a great player. He's not the LeBron of old, and he shouldn't be because he's older and he's coming through a tough season where there's a lot of back-to-backs. A lot of people been in and out. They had a lot of movement from free agency. They had to get acclimated. Dennis Schroeder couldn't really make a shot. They really need more from him if they want to pull an upset. Um, and they just got to figure out who that third and fourth guy is going to be for them if AD doesn't come back. Because if this team can't stay out of foul trouble and they can't make a shot, this series may be over in six. And people got to remember Phoenix has home court advantage. So even if the Lakers win Game 6, they still got to go back to Phoenix in Game 7. I did pick Phoenix to win it in 7, but that's when AD was beat up and LeBron was beat up. That's not what AD maybe not even able to play for the rest of the series. And if I had to be honest, even if the Lakers fans don't like it, I don't want AD playing. If he barely can even move side to side, I don't want him playing an NBA game, especially when we just gave him a 5-year deal. That's not just going to, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Portland, Denver. I feel like this game was not an instant classic. I wouldn't recommend this game. Portland got down very early, couldn't make a shot, couldn't defend, and they didn't even do that in the overtime or the second overtime. I feel like Jokic missed some easy ones, but they still was able to pull it out. Dame gave all that he had again, but it resulted the same like it was in the series already. Dame obliterates them, goes for 30 or 40, hits some big shots, makes some big shots, and they ultimately lost the game anyway. I feel like Denver had not enough. They didn't have enough to win this series with Will Barton being out, Jamal Murray being out, and just not knowing what you're going to get out of Campazzo, Austin Rivers, and those guys at the end of the day. But they got it done. You got to give Denver their credit. They have many opportunities where they could have lost this game, but they were still able to figure out enough to win it. This is a best of four. I mean, best of seven. So they only got to win one more game to eliminate Portland. I am utter shocked that Portland is on the brink of elimination. People felt like Dame won't let them lose. Dame will carry them, and now they find themselves in a situation where they can go home. Don't forget, Denver does have home court advantage as they are the higher seed. So the game seven will be in Denver if it is one. And Dame just doesn't have enough. CJ isn't the same CJ. He had a huge turnover with putting his foot on the line. He missed some floaters and layups that really would have kept the game more interesting, but he didn't make them. Carmelo, nobody on his team can guard Jokic, and that's been a problem. But Dame and Jokic have been battling. But this has really been a series of the others. Can they make shots? Can they make plays? And I thought Portland had way more than Denver at this current state. But they continue to work hard. They continue to play hard. And they continue to take their time attacking this Portland defense and just finding the right players and trusting that they make the right decision. And these guys have continued to step up and make shots and plays. And they don't look like it on paper when you look at the rosters and you look at who's available, but they play together. They understand what they can and they can't do, and they play to their strengths. And Portland, they take a lot of tough ones. They can't defend Denver to save their life, even in their current state. And their defense has really been bad. Denver continues to outscore them. We're a team, when you look at the team, you think it wouldn't happen, but Denver has been that bad. Portland has been that bad defensively, and Denver has been able to find holes, and Denver has been patient, and they've been finding quality shots better than Portland, who has been taking tougher and more difficult shots, but they ain't fell enough as Denver is up in the series. Um, Guys like Robert Covington missed a wide open dunk too. He had a chance to really put pressure on Denver to score again, and he missed the dunk. Um, and this team just has been a disappointment. If Denver wins this series, what do you do with this Portland team? This was a team that was favorited. This was a Portland team that should have won this series in less than seven if they came to play and if they knocked down their shots. But they just haven't been able to get it done so far. And Portland is on the brink of elimination now, one game loss away from being eliminated in the first round. And that will be a huge step backwards for their franchise and their fans if they have Dame having an all NBA caliber all star, one of the top players in the league season, and you get beat up by a beat up Denver team and lose. This is unfortunate. This is sad, but this is also reality. Maybe Portland is who they is. Just a decent team in the West that we don't look at as a serious contender team that can win a title. They proved that the last 8 years they've been in the playoffs, and they're proving it right now in the first round. They really going to have to figure out what they're going to do with this team to try to get over the hump and bring a championship to Portland. Like I continue to tell their fans, y'all further and far away from actually winning a championship. Y'all have Dame, but no matter what supporting cast y'all have put around him the 8 years he's been in the playoffs with y'all, y'all come short every single year. They continue to change personnel, and y'all haven't even been in the finals, and y'all haven't even won a game in the conference finals. That gotta be frustrating, especially because he's so beloved and loved around the world and in the NBA. But like I tell people year after year, either this duo will have to be broke up with him and CJ, or you're gonna eventually have to trade Dame because him as your best player haven't even got you to the finals. And no matter how you've been trying to rework and retool this roster, y'all are still far away from even getting to that goal. And that got to be frustrating every single year, but it's reality every single year. And the results continue to speak for that. Other than that, let me know what I got wrong, what I got right, what I missed. Let me know who you think is going to win the Denver series. Let me know, do you think Phoenix can finish it in 6? Will they finish it in 7? And other than that, Quinn Wade, Basketball Analysis is signing out, and I'll be back hopefully tomorrow with another playoff coverage and reactions. And see y'all then.